From Echo Bay, we backtracked to Highway 167. It's not a terribly long drive to the Ring of Fire trailhead, only about 20 miles from the bay. But I enjoy the red rocks along the way so much, I wouldn't mind if it took all day. So where are we headed?
So we're going up the North Shore Summit Trail here, and this overlooks the valley, and it's a good overview of the area.
So we'll kind of get a little preview of what we'll see up close in a little bit.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous view.
You know, it's such a gorgeous place to be. When you say desert, you think of just desert, but there's so many different types of desert.
Absolutely. People kind of think drab, and this is gorgeous, bright red sandstone.
I'm excited to get a different view of it.
Well, let's get going.
How far are we going?
It's about a half a mile round trip up a steep mountain here.
You know, it's interesting because we're pretty close to Vegas, and people don't realize that it is a remote area, that you have to take precautions.
Absolutely. You know, it's really important that when you're hiking that you bring enough water, you bring salty snacks, and that you let someone know where you're going to be.
The North Trail is short but steep, with an elevation gain of about 700 feet in just a quarter of a mile. As we climb, we can't help but look all around and take a moment to appreciate the striking landscape surrounding us. I always figure a little bit of effort makes a view even better, you know?
Absolutely. It's like the reward at the end.
Wow, you did not lie about the view from here. This is gorgeous.
Isn't it stunning? All the red sandstone and the limestone. So this all is wilderness area. And what that is we work to protect the area to keep it unimpaired by human impacts.
So when a person comes out to explore this beautiful place, what should they do to properly visit?
So it's really important that they remember the leave no trace principles, that they pack in and pack out, that they only leave footprints, and particularly in wilderness areas, be careful where you're walking because you can actually destroy some of the habitat in the areas if you're walking on like crusted areas in the desert, stuff like that. Make sure you stay on the developed trails.
You know, when you look out at this landscape, it's so beautiful and so dramatic. And it's interesting to think of how fragile that means it really is.
Absolutely. The desert is one of the most fragile ecosystems and landscapes. Just your footprints can leave impacts for hundreds of years.
It's so easy when you see a view like this to understand why people want to come out and explore, but a person not only has to take care of the landscape, but they really got to take care of themselves.
Absolutely.
When they come out here. It's pretty remote.
It's very remote. That's why it's wilderness area, because it's been, it hasn't been impacted by humans. So there's no resources out there. There's no water, there's usually no cell phone signal in wilderness areas. So you have to make sure that you let someone know when you're leaving, where you're gonna be and what time you're gonna come back, and make sure you have plenty of supplies, salty snacks, more than enough water. I say 1 liter per 2 hours you're gonna be out.
And really, you know, probably, of course, sunscreen and all the things that you need just to protect yourself.
Absolutely, and especially wearing layers, making sure that you've got different layers to take off because you get hot and you get cold throughout the day depending on the weather. And weather out in the desert is the #1 thing that people get in trouble with.
So we're gonna go hike in this part of the area today?
Yes, we're gonna go hike the south end of the Bowl of Fire.
I'm looking forward to getting up close to some of these formations. That
Absolutely.
You see.
Well, let's head on out and head into the Bowl of Fire.
Sounds good.
As we drive the short distance to the south side, the skies show signs of incoming weather.
Coming out to explore on a day when there's a little bit of weather moving in isn't necessarily a bad thing as long as you keep an eye on the skies. We'll see how far we get though before
the clouds break and we start getting rained on though. So Chelsea said we were going to do a little drive down a dirt road. I have to admit, I didn't expect that this would be as much off-roading as it is. It's a little bit of a sketchy drive. It's very sandy. I'm glad I'm in a good vehicle. So this is a road to be a little cautious about if you come out to do this on your own. So just a few miles down the road and then a few miles down that dirt. Was that a road or just a wash?
It's a designated road, but it is still a wash.
And definitely not a road you want to be on when the weather's changing.
Absolutely not. Because this is a wash, it's prone to flash flooding, so you really want to make sure that if you're coming out for a hike like this, that you're checking the weather, that you make sure whether it's going to rain or not that day. And it looks like we might have some rain today, so we really need to keep an eye on the weather today.
And we've had a little bit of everything. We've had some sun, we've got really pretty clouds. It would almost be fitting if we got a little bit of rain.
That'd be nice.
So which direction are we headed off into?
So we're going to head a little bit east here, and we're going to kind of snake around here and head into the bowl of fire over there.
So are there a lot of different trails, or is this more an area a person just, if they're being respectful, can get out and explore?
So this is a wilderness area, and the bowl of fire is not a designated trail. It doesn't have a set area that you go to. You just kind of go out and explore, and that's kind of the beauty of the area like this, is you just go out and see what nature has to offer for you. There's not really a designated trailhead or anything here. So we're just gonna go and explore and kind of find our way into the bowl.
It's such a unique landscape out here.
It really is. It's, you know, there's the red sandstone and leaves a lot of red sand as well. And you see all, if you look, you can see all the different colors of rocks, different types of rocks.
Oh, and then this is the crust that you've been talking about.
Yeah, that's a little bit, that's some newer crust, but there's definitely some you can see as you come along. You can see where it gets older and it's younger, and you can see where waters come through.
You really do feel like you're stepping into an ancient landscape. You can see all the layers of this terrain. There's so many colors and different types of rock.
Yeah, it's an ancient landscape, so you can see the different ages even. Like you see some of the black rock and then the sandstone and limestone all in pieces. So this here is a creosote, and this is one of the plants that you see the most in the desert here, and they've got oily bits on their leaves, and when you rub them or cup up your hand around them, it smells like the rain in the desert.
And it's just the oils that the plant
Yeah, it's the oils on the leaves that gives off that smell.
Oh, it really does. It smells like rain. That's really cool. And you can see that little bit of oil that you're talking about there.
Yeah, they kind of like sheen a little bit
Yeah.
when you look at them in the sun. And then if you're out in the desert when it starts raining next to a creosote, the whole smell kind of emanates the area.
That's really cool. I've hiked by them, I've driven by them a ton. I never knew that about a creosote.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite little tips to tell our kids when we lead hikes.
It's like hand freshener.
There you go. You're out in the dirt and now your hands smell good.
As I look around, I notice that in this environment that seems so inhospitable, there's actually quite a lot of plant life that makes its home at the bowl of fire.
Oh, do you see this cactus right here?
Oh yeah, a little barrel cactus. I know that one.
I love them when they bloom in the spring.
And it's interesting, this part of the desert, of course, we're not seeing the Joshua trees.
No, we're not at the right elevation for Joshua trees here. They like much higher elevations. So we're right on the edge of the Mojave Desert. So portions of Lake Mead do have Joshua trees, but not all of Lake Mead, and this area does not. Well, that one's really pretty.
Yeah, that's a really nice example.
Well, and you see how it's kind of pinky purple? When it starts to get cold, they preserve their needles.
The purple color is a response to environmental stress during cool and dry conditions. Other cacti do it as well, like agave and some aloe plants.
They're so tempting to want to touch.
I know, but just don't. It would not be a good day for you.
You know, you've mentioned a couple times that it's an ancient landscape. It's really interesting to see that there's prime examples of it just under our feet in the rocks.
Absolutely. I mean, you can see evidence that this was once a seabed, and this area is from the Jurassic Age, and it's over 500 million years old.
So we're not necessarily walking where dinosaurs walked, but we're walking where dinosaurs swam.
Potentially, yes. Yeah, if you look and see here, this is a really good example of the red sandstone and then the gray limestone. And this is what this area is famous for. And it's what a lot of people think of when they think of the Mojave Desert.
Especially Valley of Fire or Bowl of Fire.
Yep. And you just kind of got the stripes in through here, and then there's more kind of up on the top ridge over there.
And sandstone and limestone tend to be in the same areas, right?
Yes.
And is that because of the erosion or just the way it develops?
Just the way it developed, yeah.
You think millions of years to just create this landscape. It's so cool.
Yeah, if we would have been here over 500 million years ago, we would have been underwater. It's kind of neat to think.
And that's probably part of that great variety of the rocks that we've been seeing, because with the movement of the water, it's moved so many different elements and sediment and just over all that time.
Yeah, and that's why you see them kind of spread everywhere, because they've come from all different areas of this valley. And here you'll find more diverse landscape, rocks, animals, and plants than you will almost anywhere in the world.
And when you come out into this corner, you feel so remote. It's so quiet. It's really nice to get up off the road and get a little bit closer to it.
And that's what wilderness is all about, just kind of getting out and getting that unencumbered experience.
I'm glad that we were able to have a full day with those clouds coming in. As I end my day by driving the 35 miles to Boulder City, I'm hoping that the clouds will allow me another day of adventure tomorrow.